So when you meet someone at a home, as you know, one of the first things you're supposed to do is get a working with real estate agent brochure signed. And we know that in order to actually not just show that home to somebody and become a door opener, but to actually build a relationship with the person so they would want you to represent them, you don't do a very good job if you're standing outside on the doorstep and you say to them, by the way, before we go into this house, I have this brochure that I need to go over with you. I mean, it could be raining, it could be hot, it could be a number of things. So when this first came out, every real estate agent was scared to death, and that's what we learned to do. Before you unlock that door, before you go in, you have to disclose agency. And they're probably still teaching that in school as well. I don't think that's the way to bridge a good relationship, and I guarantee you there's some realtors out there that are probably still doing that, which will give you an edge. I like a softer approach, and what I would probably do after I said hello, etc., was when I open the door and we go in, before we look at the home, there is one thing that I need to give you, and it's in this red folder. And that way you've kind of got something to, get their eye and set their expectations. Excuse me. So you would begin by opening the folder and saying, have you seen this brochure before? If they've told you on the telephone interview that they've looked at some other properties with different realtors, this is your ability to separate yourself from all of them because they probably didn't see the brochure. There's a lot of agents out there that open that house up, show you one house, and never get this signed or never even go over and explain agency. So already you're separating yourself. So have you seen this brochure before? They're either going to go, oh, yeah, which means everybody that has shown them the house has shown them the brochure, so that's not going to be your edge. We have something else for you. But most of the time you're going to go, deer in headlights. I don't think so. And that's a perfect segue for you to say, well, I really care about my real estate license and doing things right, so I need to take just a moment of your time to explain the Working with Agent brochure and give you a copy of it because my license is dependent upon that. So in a real estate transaction, I'll just take a second, you want to play it down. In a real estate transaction, there's basically 3 relationships that can occur. I prefer to use the word relationship and not agency. Agency is a word that scares people, and you're wanting to be in a relationship. So there are basically 3 relationships that can occur in a real estate transaction. And I always have a pen in hand, because you got to have them sign it anyway, and I go ahead and circle. There's the seller's agent. The seller's agent is the person who represents the seller. That is anybody that you see on a for sale sign. So that name out there on that yard sign, that photo of that realtor on that yard sign, or that nice person that greets you when you walk into an open house or a new home community, these are all agents who represent the seller, and their job and their license is dependent on that representation, getting the best price, the best terms, and everything for the seller. There's also something called a dual agency. And a dual agency, and I usually put a big X here and cross it out, is where you have one realtor who signed a contract to represent the seller who has now decided they're going to represent you too. So you have one realtor representing both the buyer and the seller who has 2 opposing goals. We do not do that at Linda Craft & Team. We like to have raving fans at Linda Craft & Team, and we learned that we don't have raving fans whenever we try to represent both parties with opposing goals. So what we do, and what I am, and why I'm here today instead of Linda or one of the other listing partners, is I'm an exclusive buyer agent, which means that my job is to represent you to make sure that you get the best price, the best house, the best terms, that you have all the information about a property, material facts. I'm going to disclose everything I know to you and protect your interest. And I'd like to represent you as a buyer agent. Certainly for viewing this home, that's the approach that I'm going to take. So I want you to know that anything you share with me will be kept in confidence. So the North Carolina law is that I explain this brochure, which I've just done. Any questions? Awesome. I also have to give you a copy of the brochure. And in addition, I actually have to get you to sign this receipt. So if you'll give me your autograph on this receipt, it's just, it's something I have to keep for 3 years, and it basically just means I explained and gave you that brochure. It's not a contract. Can I get your autograph, please? And then you would hand them the pen, you'd hand them the receipt, call it a receipt, please. It's a lot easier. They understand that. They do that every day of their life. Everywhere they go, they're signing for a receipt. And then get it signed.